This Coast to Coast Entertainment Network program is brought to you by Beside Me Bracelets. Our bracelets are handmade for any occasion. Use the promo code Coast to Coast for 15% off. Visit their website at besideme.com. Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry. With 24-hour shopping available, use the code 160920 and show her some love, like she showed us. Reaper Apparel Company, a commitment to live your most authentic way every single day. Visit reaperapparelco.com for more information and a look at all of their apparel offerings. And by Good Day Embroidery, your local source for custom embroidery, screen printing, and more. Log on to gooddayembroidery.com for more information.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of C2C Rankem. I'm the host, Big B, along with my co-host halfway around the world, Tim Hendricks. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I wish it were under. Sometimes I feel like I wish we're under better circumstances. It's kind of weird when you got to deviate from your show because of serpent circumstances. But
yeah, and if anybody's following and watching, wondering what we're talking about, special show, we're just gonna pretty much chat about some celebrities we lost this past 4 days?
Yeah, it's Friday.
You know, some of them that hit us hard for our childhood. As a matter of fact, all of them kind of impacted our childhood pretty deeply. I don't know. You know, it's like hard to kick it off, but you broke it to me yesterday, I think it was. We'll start with American Pickers co-host, founder from Iowa, which was one of our states, I think we're going to do this week.
Yeah, one of our states.
Frank Fitz, known for being one of those guys that goes through sheds, barns, houses, finding treasures, as they call them. I don't know how much you watched the show, but I watched it quite a bit, and the price tag they put on some things to buy, I kind of wish they would do a show where they would sell it so we could see what, I know once in a while they would put up the digits on there that they sold it for, but they seemed like they had a price for everything, had a list for everything they wanted. What's your thoughts on the TV show and Frank?
Frank's kind of, if you talk to my Aunt Sue and my cousin Teresa, it's kind of, I think it might have been my Aunt Judy too. They were, funny thing is, this is really strange and how coincidental it was that they were going through my grandfather's house after he had passed away to see if they could sell some stuff. And it's really weird that American Pickers was actually in Iron Mountain at the time. They didn't get to meet Frank but they put a note on the van while they were staying at I want to say the Mountaineer Hotel. I think that's not too far from where you used to stay, okay. Iron Mountain. And they wanted them to come over and to go through the house and see what they can do. My dad loved the show. My dad absolutely loved the show. Frank always seemed like he was a really down to earth kind of guy. A guy I know you and I would probably sit down and have a beer with, and shoot the shit with. It's strange to see things like that happen, especially younger. He's in his 60s, but I loved the show. I thought the show was cool. Then it made me start going through my house and all the old stuff that I had going. I had that, and I had that, and I had that, but it's just interesting.
Yep. So, not rank them in a bad way, but out of the 7 we're going to talk about, where would you rank Frank?
Out of the 7, I would say, I hate to say it, I put him at 7 because of everybody above him. Not that he didn't influence or entertain me in a way, but everybody above him kind of just does.
No, that's exactly where I would have him. 7. Like you said, just pretty much the um, notoriety that he brought. I mean, yes, he did good things and stuff like that, but just watching that show, they were here in Minnesota too, not too far from where I was a while back, and they've been to Treasure Island. I think brought them in one time. But yeah, just watching them negotiate on stuff that a lot of people think are junk, and I think there's been a few shows where the person's like, "Well, I'll take like $5 for it." They're like, if I take $5 from you, I'm ripping you off. I'll give you X amount of dollars,
Right.
And so I mean, at least they're honest in some way like that too. So the next person we'll talk about is actress Meg Smith. You guys might know her mostly for her roles in Harry Potter, but she also was in Sister Act, the original Titans movie. So, Tim, what's your thoughts on Miss Meg? I was going to say Meg Ryan, Meg Smith.
It came to me as a shock. I didn't. And the funny thing is, like, you usually are the person who tells me who dies and everything, but it was my wife on her way to work that told me, and her being a big Harry Potter fan, and we find out, and it's oddly coincidental that she died on the same day as the second Dumbledore on the exact same day 1 year later. So, but like you said, she was in both the Sister Act movies. She was been there for me since like when I was a kid to now. I've seen her in just about everything. She did the old Clash of the Titans with Harry Hamlin. First time I ever saw her was in that. She's a two-time Oscar award winner. She's stuck in my head, like you said with Sister Act. You brought it up backstage, and I forgot completely that she was in Hook. To realize that she played Granny Wendy, and to play opposite, play alongside Robin Williams is kind of weird that's just, it sucks, but yeah. Harry, another one. It was just Harry Potter. It was always, and to find out that when she was filming Harry Potter, that she was battling cancer the entire time she had done every Harry Potter movie. So it's kind of, it just proves that she's a stronger woman than a lot of us. Doesn't mean just because you're old doesn't mean you're not strong, and she proved it. Yeah, she was one that was there for the duration, and it's harder when you lose somebody who's been there since your childhood, up until now. I never got into Downton Abbey, but I might start just because of Maggie Smith. She's a consummate professional. She everything, and absolutely loved, and you saw the outpouring by the entire cast of everything she's ever done. And it's that tells you exactly what she meant to the cast and to the crew of every movie she's ever done. She is going to be one. Yeah, she was 88, but yet it still seems like it's too early, which is really weird. You don't normally say that about an 88-year-old, but it's, it just seems like she's got a lot more left in there.
Yeah, no, she's done quite a bit. Just Googling while we're doing this show. Because typically we have a script, we have a list. Like I said, today's just a special one because we just had so much to cover. 10 essential Maggie Smith movie performances. Now, this is from Vulture.com. So they got the prime of Miss Jean Brodie in 1969.
She won the Oscar for that.
Death of a Nile in 1978. California Suite, also in 1978.
Wow.
The Missionary, 1982. A Room with a View, 1985. The Lonely Passion of Judith Heron in 87. Sister Act in 1992. Gortford Park, 2001.
Gosford,
All,
I think she won the Oscar for that one too, if I'm not mistaken.
all the Harry Potters.
Yeah.
Well, she could have won an Oscar if she didn't win an award for that one. She should have. I'm not a big Harry Potter fan, but watching her in those movies, she should have. The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel in 2000, directed by John Madden. I don't know if that's the football player John Madden or somebody else.
It's not. It's a different guy.
That was just a Downtown Abbey franchise.
Yep.
And that was it. So yeah, that's some of her iconic films. But yeah, no, just like we're talking backstage, seeing her in Hook, and even at the age that she passed away, it's like, God, that movie, she was old in Sister Act, stuff like that, and just to know that she passed away, this, like you said, old, but yet you still feel she had some good stuff in her to for acting. The next one we'll hit up is John Ashton, actor from Beverly Hills 90210 or Beverly Hills Cop. I was just looking at something for
Shannon Doherty. Yeah,
Shannon Doherty. Yeah, but yeah, no, we got the I can't think of his cop name in that movie.
Oh man, shoot. I know he played the chief.
Yeah, he played the chief, and then he was.
He played. Let me see. I'm pulling it up.
I'm looking at it too. Sergeant Taggett.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So no, great actor. I'm glad he got to do the last Beverly Hills Cop. Hopefully it's the last one, I should say. But he was also a little big league. Mac, the hitting coach, I think it was. Mr. Deedle's.
That's right. He was in Mr. Deedles, wasn't he?
Uncle John. I'll just look at that. So, but yeah, no, it was TV shows, Kojak, Columbo, Police Story, a lot of police movies. So he must have really MASH. He was the MP in MASH.
So he's a police there too.
Yeah, must have been. Yeah. Episode Laugh Long was that one. Starchy and Hush, Dallas, Breakaway, Police Squad, A-Team, Brothers, Hardball. So yeah, no, he did a lot of acting. King of the Hill as the instructor, the voice of Pregnant Pause. Okay. Yeah. So what's your thoughts on the acting styles of John Ashton?
It's weird that he's typecast, but into everything. But it was another one. That's another guy that's been there since our teenage years.
Yep.
With Axel right up alongside Eddie Murphy and Judge Reinhold. It was strange, and to realize that he was in Midnight Run back with De Niro. It felt weird. I'm like you said when you brought up, you're glad that he did the fourth Beverly Hills Cop. I was really happy to hear that he was part of it, and then to have him pass away 3 months after it pretty much debuted on Netflix is kind of a weird thing. It was like that last hurrah thing. He's always one of those who plays the believable cop and everything too, and it's crazy when you look at that, and he's always doing that. And it just feels like it's that those people from our childhood. It's that kick in the gut. It's just that, and we've got, and this isn't the only one on this list that's a kick in the gut from our childhood. It's just.
Oh no, I think from here on out, I mean, Frank was, a big part, but Meg Smith, and now we keep going. But no, Ashton, watching him in Little Big League tried to outsmart the whiz kid, or the kid that all he talks about is baseball and stuff, and gives him a scenario, and
Right.
the kid bounces back, and then he bounces back. Well, now you take the bats out of our 3, 4, 5 hitters, and then the kid gets his response, and then he looks at the general manager and goes, "What's he need me for?" Pretty much. So, but no, his iconic roles for me definitely up there. So we did ask, but where would you go back to Smith? You got we both have Frank at 7. Where do you got Meg Smith at?
Golly. Right now she's at 1 or 2.
Ooh,
okay. I think I have her at 2 because of who else is on this list.
Yeah.
But
I got to put her at 3.
Right.
I think she's up there, but and now where do you got Mr. Ashton here?
Holy smokes, I'm trying to remember who's all on our list at this point. Golly. Because we've got 7.
And we got 7.
Really weird. Ashton, because of how much he was there, I think it's 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I got him at.
4 or 5.
4 or 5, yeah. Yeah. So let's keep on the theme of John's here. We'll go John Amos. This guy, it's one of those guys where when you sent it to me, said he passed away, I had to look because I'm like, dude, that he should have passed away. In my mind, I thought he passed away a while ago.
Yeah.
But then you start talking about Coming to America 2, where he was in there. I was like, well, that wasn't long ago, and it just to me didn't put two together.
Yeah, because Coming to America 2 was last year.
Yeah. So, but Amos here, he had some good roles. Of course, we all know him from The Father in Good Times, where honestly we know that that TV show would not be remade today. Roots, of course, his acting skills in Coming to America. I did not know this, but in 1964, he signed a free agent contract with the Denver Broncos. I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, they're talking about that, and I was just like, really? So. And then in 67, signed with the Chiefs back in the day, but yeah, had a little football career. But so give us a little breakdown on your thoughts on Amos there.
I think this one hit me a little harder than when I saw it. It felt like it kicked me. It's like a kick in the chest. I knew how much I remember you talking about Beverly Hills Cop and how they were getting the big three back. And it just seemed like every time but when it came to John Amos, it was almost like every time you see him in something different, but you always go, he's still alive, and he's still alive. And how is he? I didn't think he was alive, and it always caught me off guard, because then all of a sudden he'd play in a role completely opposite of what his last role was. Like you said, like with Good Times, I remember him in Good Times, and it was like, he played J.J. Walker's dad. He played Janet Jackson's dad in that series. Yep. And then it just seemed like everything he touched, his performances always seemed like it was more than what the scene called for, which means he got lost in the roles. And I love when an actor does that. He's another one that, it made me believe that McDonald's was an evil corporation back in the day during Coming to America.
Yeah.
Because he was talking about how McDowell's had stole McDowell's, and he made me believe that McDowell's was real even back then. And it's the acting world, there aren't that many people of color that are really great actors. There are a lot of good actors, but Amos is one of the greats. He's it was weird because I watched Black Panther, and I watched the sequel to Black Panther, and I'm like, oh God, they're going to have John Amos in this. And I'm like, and it's going to be great. If Amos is still alive, he's going to be in these 2 movies, and then he was never in the movies. And I'm like, you've made a big mistake. But I loved it. He made the characters feel that he played feel natural. They feel, I've watched movies where I've seen actors look like they're just reading a script. They're just reiterating a script. And John Amos was never one of those guys that always feels like he was playing it. He believed every word, that everything was coming from his heart and not trying to remember everything. I love John Amos. I thought John Amos, should have got bigger, better roles, but sometimes the guys in the background are the better roles.
Yep. No, I mean, yeah, like you said, him, coming to America, just like you said, made it believable. He was in Die Hard 2. He was in Dr. Dolittle 3. He was in what's the other? Coming to America 2, of course. And then he was in the Cosby Show he was one of the first episodes. Mary Tyler Moore's show. The new Dick Van Dyke Show back in '72, Stanford and Sons in '73. Let's see here. Good Times, of course, we talked about that. I mean, that had just a cast full of characters, and I mean that would have been. I don't know who's all left of that show now, but that would have been a good.
I think
kind of reunion show.
I think Jimmy Walker and I think Jimmy Walker, the sister, the cousin. And Janet, I think, are the only ones that are still left alive.
Yeah. So he also had a episode of MASH. No, I'm sorry, A-Team. And he was also a Police Story. But yeah, he's Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Another guy from King of the Hill.
What's that?
He was another one that was in King of the Hill.
Yep. But he played the father of Will Smith's fiance.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch the episodes, he ends up marrying Will's mom in that TV show. So Walker, Texas Ranger, So he definitely was a busy guy. I mean, especially TV show wise, it seemed like he was acting almost every year in an episode or two. But yeah, that was one that like you said, just kind of kicked a little differently when you said it, and then you just like put two together. It's like, oh my God, he was back in Good Times. I remember watching that as growing up. So where you put Amos at there?
Three without a question. At this point, 3 without a question.
Yeah, I gotta go 5 or 4.
I'm probably missing somebody that probably deserves a 3 spot, but
you gave us the list, so. All right, so let's get into Chris Christopherson, who passed away on Sunday.
That's the one I forgot. No, he's there. I just forgot in my ranking.
So, what's your thought on the country singer? I know we got a Tim traveling story with this one.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, it's being a fan of country music like I was when I was younger. I'm not as much as I was. But when you realize that the only one of the highwaymen that are left now is Willie Nelson, it's kind of weird. He was one of the original country singers that actually started acting, because I know he was in A Star Is Born with it's a remake, because the original was back in the 50s or 60s. But the one that Lady Gaga remade with Bradley Cooper is based off of the one between Chris Christopherson and Barbara Streisand. Golly, this is my number 3. John Amos is going to 5 at this point. Forgot about Chris Christopherson. This is one of those guys that made that huge crossover. It was one of the first musical artists that made that first huge crossover, and then you get people that follow him like Kenny Rogers and George Strait and Clint Black and the like. And this one kind of came out of left field too, because another one I thought was dead too already, and then when I saw the name come up, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And he did everything. It's amazing. He's played the villain. He's played the good guy. He
Yep.
played Whistler with Wesley Snipes back in the Blade movies. He's played villains. He played this one villain in a movie I can't remember, but he played it as if he were like 40 years old, and at the time I think he was in his 60s. But he played it so well. And to think that I think that's another guy who died, I think, too young, because I think he still had a lot of roles left in him too, because it was. And another one who you would have never thought he was a country music star unless you heard his stuff.
Yeah.
It was Payback. That's what it was. It was Payback with Mel Gibson, where he plays opposite of Mel Gibson, and it's just it's freaking scary the way those two guys played off each other. It's almost like it was the perfect foil for the hero. I just it's still I'm still stuck in the Chris Christopherson one, because you just see Blade come up, you just see Wesley Snipes come back to do a Deadpool movie, and then all of a sudden, almost 3 months later, you've got Chris Christopherson who's gone. He's got one of those. Everybody who ever talked to him, he was a gentleman, but he was a loner. Those are two that are never really put together like that. But such a talent, and such a huge talent that he's won Grammys. I don't know if I think he may have won an Emmy, but I don't know. I know he's never won an Oscar, but he probably should have. And it's a damn shame, because especially for something like I'm looking up his awards right now, but yeah, he's never won, but he's been nominated. What was he not? He was nominated for.
It looks like he's won a country music award back in the 70s.
Yeah,
Global Award for best actor in the musical.
that was
A Star to Be Born. Yep. 85. It looks like he won an Academy Country Music Award for The Highwayman, or with The Highwayman.
Yeah. He was nominated for a TV called The Songwriter, or for a movie called Songwriter with Willie. Think about this: Willie Nelson and Chris Christopherson, and Rip Torn, another guy who's
he got the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 2014.
Yeah, way too late on that one.
Yeah, but you are right though too. He is the last Highwayman. Matter of fact, we just had a topic with them in there a couple weeks ago. I think
it was with Chris Christopherson too.
Yeah.
Because he was born in Texas. Was it Chris Christopherson, or was it? No, it was Waylon Jennings.
Yeah,
it was Waylon Jennings in Texas. But Willie's the last of the four.
So you got him at 3. I would probably have to bump down Meg from 3 to 4, and then put Christopherson there. So let me just look at my list here, because I just want to make sure we don't double up on somebody. We got him. All right, well, let's get into the big guy, Dikembe Mutombo. Brain cancer, I think it was, took him.
Yeah.
The one image I got from him, and thinking outside of his big finger being wagged back and forth when he did a shot block, was the playoff series that the Denver Nuggets were in with, I think, Seattle, 8-1, and they're the 8 seed, and he upset them, and he's on the ground with the ball, just cheering up. But what can you say about Dikembe Mutombo there, Tim?
Yeah, he's one of those once in a generation kind of guys. They did I think it was Kevin Bacon that did a movie called The Air Up There, right? Yep. Where he goes to Africa, and it's loosely based off of the Dikembe Mutombo story.
Yep.
And I can't. Did Mutombo went to Georgetown, didn't he? I want to remember that. But that being said, it was just he always had that hard working skill. He was always Dikembe is always so. He was that big man. He was always that guy that gave Shaquille O'Neal a tough time. He's always the guy that gave Hakeem Olajuwon a tough time. You know, those big guys really don't like to bang. You know, Shaquille O'Neal say he likes to bang, but you know there are people they don't like to bang up to, and that Dikembe Mutombo.
Yeah, he went to Georgetown.
Yeah, and you know, Michael Jordan has said that he was probably the toughest center he's gone up against. You know, I remember him saying that you could never. That was the whole thing was he had to go to the finger wag because he had to because Daniel Stern because David Stern. Well, I always want to call Adam Silver. That's the other guy. Always wanted to start fining him for him talking back, and then he started with the finger wag.
Yeah.
But you know, that's the guy. I don't think he has a championship, and that's to me. I think if that's true, that's terrible because Dikembe should have a championship. No. And you know, if you put him on the Bulls, he gets his championship, and then you just start having then you just start getting complaints that other stuff. But top 10 to me, probably one of the top 10 centers in NBA history. You know, he went every place he went to seemed to elevate the low post. I think even when he got older, it didn't matter. He was still elevated the low post play, and that's tough to do when you're in your mid 30s. Your team's got to suck, or you know, but that makes you think about what did somebody else die? You got that look on your face like somebody else.
No, just not yet.
But that also tells you the run that the Georgetown Hoyas had at centers, and because it was Ewing, and then it was Mourning, and then it was Mutombo. You know, I just wish he had gotten the championship. It's one of those things where you know there are guys that you root for. There's guys you hate but you want on your team.
Yeah.
And then there's guys no matter what happens to your team want to get a championship that you want to do well. And to me, Dikembe Mutombo was one of those guys that no matter what happened to my Bucks, that was one of those good guys that I would have loved to have seen gotten a championship. It just sucks that he didn't get one. Oh, I'm going to say, I'm like,
I mean, he got drafted in '91, fourth overall pick by the Nuggets. He played there for 5 years and went to the Atlanta Hawks for a couple years, then Sixers, then the Nets, the Knicks. Ended up finally retiring with the Rockets. 8-time All-Star, 2-time third NBA team, four-time Defensive Player of the Year. You know, the list just goes on. 2-time rebounding leader, 3-time shot blocker. His numbers retired with the Hawks and the Nuggets. I would assume that maybe the other ones will follow suit here, but just a 7'2" guy, just scrawny, 260. A guy who's I think played in the right generation, because I think if he plays now with that skill set, he doesn't do half the things he does. You know, I mean, he'll still be there for a rebounder and stuff like that, but you don't see him going on the outside taking threes. But again, like you said, you know, for a guy that played that long and had that impact, it would have been nice to get him that ring. Of course, he goes anywhere else in that time, he probably does get that ring. You know, comes awfully close.
He just happens to pick the 5 teams that weren't going to win you a ring anytime in the near future.
Yeah. Exactly. So, you know, his boys, you know, playing basketball.
Where's his kid at?
The son of former Georgetown, Ryan Mutombo, saw action 27 games as a freshman.
Is he at Georgetown?
Per season versus. I'm just looking here. Yeah, looks like he's played Georgetown.
That's he got in for legacy then. No,
Yeah, most
that's
likely. Yeah.
that's a joke. I don't want to. He's probably if he's got half the skills his dad does, he should be starting and should be a hell of a talent.
Oh yeah, his let's see, and I just saw his stats here or his quick facts. His he's 7'2",
Oh,
256, so
256. He's
256, yeah.
lighter than his dad. He's about the
Not
same
by
weight
much,
as
but
he's the same weight as Victor Wembanyama at this point.
yeah. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see where he goes. And then I think got enough time. I think we definitely will run this time, but the big news, I think, on the floor, depending on what genre you're in, MLB great, all-time hits leader, Pete Rose has passed away. That was Monday. I saw it on my Facebook page, text you right away, text the group right away. What's your thoughts? My first question is I mean, I think we've talked before. He should be in the Hall of Fame as a hitter at least. What's your thoughts now on if MLB puts him in?
Right now, I think the MLB is in a lose-lose situation. If you put him in, you're going that's pretty heartless. You don't put him in, it's still pretty heartless. You needed to put him in before he passed away. I'm hoping that Adam what's the guy's name and we had this conversation about the Manfred. Yeah, Manfred. I don't know what Manfred was waiting for. A lot of this stuff is Pete's fault. I'm not a guy to kick a dead man. I mean, kick a man when he's dead. But a lot of this stuff is Pete's fault. A lot of this stuff is, and if Paul Giamatti's watching, I'm not kicking your dad down, but your dad died a little too early. You should have told everybody what was the plan. Because I blame a little bit more on Bart not telling Faye Vincent the plan. But I think a lot of that relies on Pete Rose. Do I believe he should be in? He should have been in before. He should have been in before he passed away. I think he gets in now as a, and I hate to use the word pity, but he's in now as a pity move. Kind of a knee-jerk reaction. I think MLB has painted themselves into a very tight corner. Outside of that was a kick in the head. That was a kick in the head. Pete, when I wake up and I get Pete Rose, I hated waking up in the mornings for the last 5 days because I wasn't expecting everything that I got, and I've gotten it was like 2 days in a row. Yesterday it was you, Sunday it was you, Saturday it was you. Yeah. It was like I wake up Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Friday I blame my wife because she's the one that gave me the bad news on Friday. I know my payback was the 2 yesterday, but I was getting really, and the Pete Rose one was the one that sent me over the top. I was done looking at my phone for a while. The guy is the consummate. Okay, I'm going to say the consummate professional on the field. I think the guy was what every manager in baseball and every coach wanted, because the guy was there's a reason why he was called Charlie Hustle. It was because the guy never stopped playing no matter what. Talk to Ray Fosse during an All-Star game and see how much Pete Rose didn't quit in a game, because he laid Ray Fosse out at home plate during an All-Star game. And there's Pete Rose, when he's on the field, it was 0 to 100. Yep. And it was 100 all the time. And it's just his money's a wonderful thing and it's a terrible thing all at the same time. And greed did a wonderfully terrible thing to Pete Rose. So I'm going to upset many Major League Baseball fans saying that they're all saying, "Oh, he's not in the Hall of Fame," but he is in a Hall of Fame, just not the one we want. And even that, there was 3 or 4 years in a row that he would be the host of WrestleMania, and he would
Yep.
take a tombstone from Kane
Yep.
at what, 50 years old, 55 years old, almost 60 years old.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I'm not. I'm close to that. Next year I turn 50. I'm not taking a tombstone from anybody. This is not going to happen. I've taken one before in my 20s. I won't do it again. But again, the guy was all heart and everything did, even when he was betting on baseball. But should he be in? He should be in. Should he have been in before this? He should have been in well before this. It's one of those things. I think Pete had it in his mind that he was going to die before he ever saw himself in the MLB Hall of Fame, and that's the sad thing.
Nope.
But if he'd have came out and said, "Yeah, I did it," I think he would have been in well before he passed away. But he's my and I'm going to tell you, he's my number one, on my list, because it's still, I didn't play much for baseball growing up, but you kind of when it got to the point where he was getting up to Ty Cobb's number, everybody watched baseball at that point. Everybody was watching when everything was breaking in, and to think that. And the funny thing is, this is hilarious. Everybody remembers Pete Rose for being with the Cincinnati Reds and the Philadelphia Phillies, but I'm the guy. I am the guy out there. If there's any guy out there that besides me, I want to talk to this guy. I want a Pete Rose Montreal Expos jersey.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's banished from baseball, but yet they still use his clip from the All-Star game. Every year they show it. And, they let him come in a couple times where it was well-deserved and stuff. I think the Fenway Park All-Star game, I think, was one of them where they let him come back because it was top 50 greatest players.
Yeah, that problem is, that's the problem I have with MLB. They pick and choose when they want to, when it's best suits them. It would have best suited them a long time ago.
Yeah, and yes, I get it. Listen to everybody talk that the gambling, but thing is you got to put him in as the all-time hits leader. I said that for years because just like Barry Bonds. Okay, yeah, he's got steroids and stuff, but you still have to hit the ball. Right. You still have to be able to put the ball in play, and that's what he did. That's what Bonds did. That's what Sosa did. McGuire. Yeah, we could get another debate on steroids and stuff, but you're not the all-time. If that's the case, then you don't recognize him as the all-time hits leader. You take that away from him. But yeah, I'm with you 100% that it's a bad look on baseball now that they put him in, being that he passed away. I know the family, if he does get the invite this year or coming up, they will accept it. I'd hate to say it. If I was them, I probably wouldn't, But, yeah, it's just tough this last 4 days, just, like you said, waking up or look at your phone and there's breaking news and, stuff like that. But, so with that being said, Tim, let me see if I can find a quick list here. We can wrap up the show, but for me, Pete Rose is definitely number one. Yeah, go ahead.
I kind of want to wrap. I put a little note. We just talked about 7 people that have passed away.
Yep.
Last year we wanted to. I think you and I wanted to do a show when Betty White turned 100, but we didn't get that shot in the face because we got shot in the face because she died. Yeah. Well, yesterday there was a person who had turned 100 years old, and no U.S. president has ever turned 100 years old. Jimmy Carter, who's had brain cancer now for 7+ years, turned 100 years old yesterday, and no president has ever lived to the age of 100. So after the seven deaths, I figured, why not give Jimmy Carter his due? He's seen a lot in this world, and I give him credit. Another guy who's battling cancer, lost his wife earlier this year, actually.
Last year.
Was it last year? Yeah. Oh, you're looking right at his Wikipedia page. Yep. But yeah, it's strange. and I applaud anybody who can live to 100 years old and to have been president of the United States, be the first. This guy would have been number one on this day, just so you know.
Oh yeah.
Today. He would have been number one on my list if we did October 1st, but I think we already did October 1st. But yeah, he deserves it. He, I saw all the great warm wishes that he got yesterday. Very, 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 very well deserved and very misunderstood president that we had. I think he got in at the wrong time, but you know what, he gets it. He made it to 100, and I applaud getting to 100 and being president of the United States and being the first, because we have that saying in this show, you got to be the first, and he's the first.
Yeah, no, and that's great. I mean, I just like you said, that's like Betty White being 100, Bob Barker was getting up there. Just to sit down and talk to those guys that, that lived that long, to say, hey, what was it like when you were 10, when you were 20, when you're, and just going through all that stuff. But so let's go into, I found a quick one, Cincinnati.com, Pete Rose. Here's the top 10 best Pete Rose moments from MLB. Okay, so let's see here. So
is it only Cincinnati, or is it Cincinnati, Philadelphia, Montreal?
It just says, I'm just looking quick. It looks like it's all Cincinnati moments.
Okay.
So number 10, Pete Rose wins the World Series title with the Reds, 75-76.
Oh, the year
that won with Philadelphia.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Number 9, Pete Rose wins Rookie of the Year in 63.
63?
1963 Rookie of the Year, Pete Rose.
Hell. He played until the 80s. Holy smokes! Yep. I thought Nolan Ryan was doing something impressive.
At number 8, he got his first hit, April 13th, 1963, as he replaced Don Blanchegame at second base, racked up his first of 4,256 hits. It was a triple off of Bob Friend of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Rose wore number 22 the following day.
Of course, he hit one off the Pirates, and it was a triple.
Yeah. Number 7, Pete Rose returns to Cincinnati as a player manager in '84,
and that's when the downfall started.
Yeah, pretty much.
He ever win a World Series as a manager?
Yeah, I don't know. It would have been in the '80s, I think, or early.
Would it have been like 82 or 83 with Philadelphia?
Yeah, maybe Pete Rose in 1973, most valuable player.
Yeah, well, he deserved it at that time.
Yeah, Pete Rose goes on a 44-game hitting streak.
Did it say what day it ended?
Let's see.
I like it because August 1st?
Yep.
I'm trying to see because I still have on my birthday was when DiMaggio stopped his.
Yeah. 76 Rose was chasing Joe DiMaggio's immortal record of 56. He holds the National League mark for 44 from June 14th until August 1st.
Yeah, no, he shouldn't. He shouldn't be in for batting whatsoever.
Yeah. Number 4, Pete Rose. Cincinnati Reds sweeps the Yankees in 1976.
Well, that should be number 1 by itself.
Yeah, exactly. Pete Rose, the Big Red Machine, wins the 75 World Series. Pete Rose, this is the image that we all see every All-Star game. Pete Rose scores a winning run at Riverfront Stadium at 1970 All-Star game.
As he's destroying Ray Fosse in the process.
Yes. And that's the thing. You keep using his image and likeness. And Pete Rose breaks Ty Cobb's record on September 11th, 1985.
September 11th. Think about that. 9/11. He breaks a record.
Nope, exactly. So that was the top 10 moments for Pete Rose. Again, we wanted to pay our respects to these guys, ladies. Our original scheduled programming was going to be states people born in. I would assume that Fitz is probably going to show up next week on a list, depending on what's all in Iowa.
I don't know. From what I saw in Iowa, I'm trying to in Iowa.
So your final thoughts there, Tim?
Yeah, like I said at the beginning, it's not what show we want to do. It's kind of a show we had to do. We should have done them, and I'll be honest, we probably should have done them before. You got to pay respects for the people that touched us in some way. And each and every one of these people, all 7 of them, in some way, with unknowing to them, it touched us in our lives, and that's a good thing. Keep watching all the C2C shows. We got a lot of great shows tonight at was it 3:30 your time? 3:30 Central Time. We've got the Couch Fantasy Hour Zone, whatever.
Yep.
And then we've got Morning Tailgate on Sunday with half of Brandon and Bacon and I.
Yep. And I'm still counting the full person when it's half of me. But also tonight, Sportsman, I'm assuming we'll get on there again talking baseball, basketball, as baseball wraps up, basketball, football. Football's week 4, so definitely get in on that. Kicking It's hit or miss Thursdays, entertainment hour with Crispy Bacon, Big Game James, and I steal everybody's bits. Dragon Viper will be on there.
So is he gonna? So that means he's gonna steal our bit for people who are dead.
Oh, he always steals our bits.
Okay.
And then Between the Ropes, we'll talk Bad Blood come Sunday or Monday. What happened in wrestling? With that being said, we'll see y'all later on today. With the Couch Fantasy Zone.
I got it right and you got it wrong.
You got it right. All right, have a good one, guys.